Obviously, when you lose a tight game, a close game, like we did Saturday night, every decision is magnified, and there's so many things. It's truly, we've learned in a couple losses this year that this game is truly a game of inches, whether it's a missed field goal by that much or a 5-yard penalty and they make one by that much, or a first down that they get by very little. And there's so many, and obviously the calls that you make or didn't make, and you go through all those things, and certainly wish the outcome was different, but continue to be very, very proud of our young men. And one of the things that I know is definitely true for our staff is that you cannot get caught up in, we can't afford to be in the results-oriented business. We have to be about the process, particularly in the state of our program when we got here. There's too much at stake for the lives of these young men that depend upon us to prepare them each week for manhood and for football games. And we continue to strive to set the core principles and foundations to which our program will be built on. And nothing will change this week as we prepare for a very difficult game with LSU. And really proud of the attitude our young men had yesterday coming in, and excited about finishing our season with 2 great opportunities.
Adrian, you have a question?
You mentioned after the game, kind of almost in passing, you wish you had thrown the ball a little more. As you look back and reflect, and as you evaluate the film, how do you feel about that today?
Well, we threw for 403 yards, so that's a pretty good day. And we threw it 50 times. I know there are a lot of people that, and I think, again, anytime you lose, there's things you can look at. But the fact, I've seen people mention about running it too much on first down. I don't know if you've looked at the stats. I have. We ran it 21 times on first down and threw it 16. That's pretty balanced. I think in this league you have to be a threat to run the football. And some of the runs to which we call, which we have other things going on, if you understand our offense, they're in the decision-making of some young men sometimes that don't always make the right decisions. We have to look at ourselves and make sure we're coaching them better, but there were times we should have taken some quick throws to the outside that we didn't. But, to be close to 50-50 is pretty good. I think we averaged 4.32 yards on first down, which should keep us on track for our tempo. We got 90 plays in the game, so we were doing okay in that regard also. And we did have 2 sacks on first down, so that's the danger. The other thing I'd like to point out is when you have the lead and your defense is playing well, our average starting field position was the -17. I thought their punter did an outstanding job. To me, he was the MVP of that game. We started 9 possessions inside the 20-yard line, and it's when your defense is playing well, the last thing you want to do is put them in a hole by turning the ball over or something, and that weighs into some of those calls also. But certainly we probably could have thrown it a little more, but it wasn't as skewed as it might seem. Everything's just magnified when you lose a game the manner to which we did and as close as it was.
Coach, I don't remember who played this past Saturday. Can you impress upon these kids from a former player standpoint, from a fan base standpoint, just how big the words LSU mean to us?
I certainly will try. I know our kids understand yesterday that this game means a lot to a lot of people, and we're going to trust that we can impress that upon them this week as we prepare.
Can you talk about how your depth issues are starting to show up late in the season, especially on defense?
Yeah, that's a very good point. I'm glad you brought that up. But I do think, we're down now with Furbia's injury. We're going to be about 59 scholarship players, and it does show up. The worst place we're hit is on the back end of our defense, in the back 7. And the only place we're really rotating some people are in the interior defensive line. On the backside, we're not afforded the opportunity to rotate a lot of kids, and I do think with the rigors of this schedule we've had that you get beat up, and you get your legs are not quite as fresh, and you're not getting many breaks, and I think it does show sometimes. But we can't use that as an excuse or a crutch. We've got to fix that in recruiting. which we will, but right now, we've got to press on with what we have.
Outside of Vanderbilt's emphasis on stopping the run, that was something that Coach Franklin talked about in his press conference. Was there things that you weren't maybe doing with the offensive line, or just missing some blocks, things that on your part that could have been better done?
Oh, always. Always we can look at the film and think, well, we should have blocked this a little better and it'd have been a positive run, or the running back should have put his foot in the ground and got us 4 yards instead of -1, or and then times you have to tip your hat to them. They have a run stop blitz called, and there's not a lot you can do about it, particularly if you don't make the right decision at the quarterback spot to take what they're giving you within our offense. So, yeah, there's a lot of things that you can look at like that for sure. But everybody's going to have an emphasis on stopping our run game, because when we're two-dimensional, I think the stuff we do is very effective. But if you can make a team one-dimensional, and then that's another reason why you continue to try to run, because the minute that they think you won't, you've got some, you're going to have some issues in protection, which we struggle some with anyway.